all suffering for the Christian has been redeemed in Christ, but suffering is a universal human experience, which means all humans everywhere experience suffering at some level. If you're outside of Christ, then suffering is just part of a fallen world. If we're in Christ, then we know that our suffering is not punitive, that we're not under the wrath of God, but rather under His mercy. So that can't be said for those outside of Christ, so that maybe suffering is the wrath of God. But for those of us who are in Christ, we have not been set under His wrath, but rather been delivered from His wrath and now rest under mercy. And so there is a type of suffering even for the believer that's part of the brokenness of this world. But God God fills that suffering with His redeeming grace and purposes. And so I would say, like in my own cancer, God didn't give me cancer, but He certainly allowed it. And in His allowance with it, He had a plan and purpose for His glory and my joy. And so that's how I would think about suffering and the suffering of those around us.